Started. All right, welcome to Modern Nurse Fest. I am your host for this lesson in inner child healing. It's going to be epic. We're going to laugh, we're going to move, we're going to just love on our inner child. And I'm so excited that you're here joining us. So if you want, go ahead and grab, you'll need like a comfort thing. This is my blankie. That's comforting. I also have some like oil that smells really good and is just like really nice to just put on your hands, and I like kind of put it on my hair. It just smells lovely. So some comfort things. I'm also putting on the super patch. It's the Peace super patch. It's amazing. It actually works with your neural coding of your nervous system. And I'll be talking about that tomorrow, so you can join in for that. So with this, you'll also need a pillow because we're going to be in some different poses with our body that you'll need some support underneath the knees. So this is interactive. So if you want to join in on the situation, we'll be laying on the ground. So you'll need to put some pillows underneath your knees. So go ahead and grab that now. All right. So I'm so excited you're here. We're going to start with some standing. So you can keep your camera on or you can put your camera off. It's totally up to you. But we're going to start with some standing movement just to get ourselves grounded here first. So we're going to go ahead and ground. And what that means is it's our body connecting with the earth. So it's really just feeling our feet on the ground, which we do a lot when we're a kid. All right. So just for a moment, just rock back and forth, coming up onto your toes, coming back onto your heels. You might have done this when you were a kid. We usually play a lot with our body because we're figuring it out. As we get into adulthood, we don't really care too much about our body anymore because we've been in a body, but it's not that we really understand and know our bodies. So we're going to dive in to some knowing and awareness as well today. So again, thank you for being here. I'm going to start to turn into my meditative voice. It's a little bit calmer. We're going to take the energy down a lot. All right. It's been a very cool day of some awesome speakers. So go ahead and just slow that movement of the back and forth of the feet. Now I really just want you to take a moment. We're going to drop our shoulders down away from our ears, relax our hands next to our thighs here. Soften the knees, a slight bend. And I want you to take a moment just to take your gaze down to the ground. This will further ground you as well, connecting the gaze to the ground. And I want you to take a moment to feel the points of connection on your feet. Really start to feel where they connect because they're not going to connect to the whole foot. You might have a little bit of an arch or a high arch. You might feel the space underneath the toe fold, which you've never probably ever thought about. Right? So there's these little spaces that aren't touching the ground as much. And I want you to then take notice of where it's touching the ground. And again, just keeping those shoulders down and just to bring a smile to your face because right now we're in the present moment and everything is awesome in this moment. Like you're breathing. If that is any indication that life is awesome, I mean, it's your breath, right? So go ahead and check in with your breath. Notice if it's deep or shallow, fast or slow. And just really start to take in the breath and notice where it's falling in the lung region. So maybe it's an upper breath, maybe it's a deep, good, deep belly breath. But just take notice. It's not to be judgmental of oneself, it's just to become aware. And when we become aware of these little oddities in our body that we haven't really paid attention to before, they start to become very profound in our life. And we understand that we can change them at any time. And we do have control over our breath. If anything, that's the number one thing that we actually have control over in life. So with me here, take a moment. If you want to take your gaze down or you can close your eyes, taking a deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, smile. 2 more with that. Inhale deeply. Exhale, smile. And inhale deeply. And exhale, smile. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take it on down to the floor here. So let me drop my camera, drop it low for you. It's like I'm floating in outer space with this background. That's okay though. All right, so we're taking it down to the ground. So get in any comfortable spot you like. I'm gonna go ahead and get the blanket around the neck. This is a grounding tool that I use. I've been wearing it actually all throughout the fest. When you're not seeing me on the screen, I have a blanket on, and I really like scarves. Just something. It's a comfort thing for me, and so I want you to bring in comfort that maybe might be comfortable for you as a child. So think of something that was very comfortable for you as a child, and I want you to start bringing that into your life if you're not currently doing that. So think about that as we engage in some movement here. So however you're sitting, I'm going to just go ahead and take your arms up to the sky here. And we're going to bring our chest forward and our hands start to float back behind us. And we're just taking a nice deep breath in, bringing our chest forward, our belly forward. And then as you exhale, I just want you to open your hands, bring them down to the ground. And then inhale, bring your hands back. Exhale, bring your hands down to the ground. Good, one more here. Inhale, hands back, just this beautiful arch in the lower back. And just stay here for a second. We're just gonna tilt right to left. You're gonna feel a gentle stretching sensation in the side obliques, the side of the abdomen. And this is also great. You might have a bowel movement later because we're actually massaging the belly as well. So this is really good too. And this is great for kids as well. It's great for all of us. So go ahead and do this. We'll do about 4 here. We've got 3. Maybe close your eyes. Just feel that rocking sensation in 2. And let's get 1 more in here. 1 more. Good, and then go ahead and reach up, inhale, exhale, shine the heart center forward, bring the arms down into cactus or scarecrow since it's fall, and then go ahead and tuck the chin down in the chest. Stretching out the back and the neck, just feel that sensation of stretching in the back. And then we're gonna inhale, bring the hands up, and then exhale, bring the hands to heart center here just for a moment. And we're just going to take a moment to have a moment of sharing and listening with each other. And I want you to think of a very special moment in your childhood. And it's something that you might have celebrated. It might have been a memory that you remember. But if you would so like to, you can share in the chat your wonderful childhood memory, or you can share with us out loud here. And I'll go first just to kind of open the floor here. One of my favorite childhood memories is, it's kind of interesting because I like to stay up late now, but I remember my parents being like, you have to go to bed. And I remember it still being light out. And it was like 7 or 8 o'clock. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to bed. But I just remember like it was still one of my favorite childhood memories because I remember like just needing to go to bed, but it was light out because I'm like, oh, it's still time to play, right? Like so innocently as a child. And I just loved being outdoors as a child. And so when I had to go to bed when it was still light out, I'm like, I still have things to do. I remember telling my parents, like, I still have things to do. So does anybody like to share? I know, let's see. We have somebody in the chat here. Yeah, making homemade oatmeal with my dad. Oh, that's so lovely. Yeah, so these core memories that we have as a child can be very positive in nature and sometimes not so positive in nature. And, you know, as humans with a negative bias, sometimes we like to frame our childhood as this horrible situation. And I know a lot of clients that I see on the coaching side and on the microdosing side that, you know, we go sometimes negatively to our childhood, like my parents didn't do this, or blaming our parents. And, you know, I think it comes to a point where we have to take ourselves into consideration that they were doing the best that they could with what they knew. Right. And so now, if you're a parent, you can just thank yourself because you're probably doing a little bit better job than your parents because you have a little bit more information, and a little bit of understanding that maybe you wanted to switch things up and do things different than your parents, right? So it's really interesting as we grow as humans to not blame our parents, but to embrace that now they're doing what we're possibly doing. If you're a parent, it's your first time being a parent now as well. So it's just to embrace the messiness of life and to bring that curiosity as you did when you were a child. So we're going to go ahead and get curious right now. So I want us to share something that we did as a child that we currently do as an adult and why it brings us so much joy. So if anybody would like to share with us, if you want to come on and share with us, that would be cool. And also just to think about the other things maybe that you used to do as a child. Yes, Taylor.
Oh, I was just coming back on my face. But I still do paint. Paint.
Yeah,
You know, I used to do
that's
a lot of art
awesome.
when I was younger, and I stepped away from it for a long time, but through my healing journey, I brought that right back in, and it's been great.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, there's so many different modalities or things that, we did as children and we kind of lose that later in life, like maybe playing music. I know a lot of people like played music when they were younger. Maybe they were forced to play the clarinet, but they loved it, but they're not doing it into adulthood and tapping back into that creative pursuit, whether it be music or art or movement or cooking or playing in the garden in the dirt, swinging on a swing. I love swinging on swings at the playground. I get funny looks all the time from parents that are sitting there on their phone on the bench, and I just want to walk up to them and be like, "Come swing with me! Like, come and just cradle your inner child, right?" And
Have
swinging is actually
fun.
so soothing for me. Being gonna say so. With that being said, now I want you to think of something that you used to do as a child that you want to include. Maybe just think about that. Maybe it's being outdoors a little bit more. Maybe it's just doing silly things, right? When we're kids, we're doing so many silly things. So that's going to segue us into some laughter yoga. So we're going to do some laughter yoga. This is something that I love teaching. I love to laugh. We don't laugh enough as adults. So it's really important to laugh just a little bit more. So my arms are being cut off. This is very bizarre. I'm going to go ahead and take this background off so you guys can. Here we go. So you can see me just a little bit better and I don't look like my hands are being cut off. So let's go ahead and start out here. So we are going to do some laughter. You can do it sitting down or standing up. And this is something that you can do whenever because you can laugh whenever you want, right? And it raises your emotion. It also just helps your nervous system create serotonin, which is our happy hormone. And it just makes our whole body happy and so juicy. So you might look like a crazy person. I do it while I'm driving sometimes, or it just raises my mood. So we're gonna laugh. And if you don't know, kids laugh about I think it's like anywhere from 600 to 800 times a day, and adults only laugh like 15 to 20. So that's pretty scary to think about that we go down like a lot, right? As we get older, we should still be enjoying life, and laughter and play is so crucial to living a longer life. If you look at people that have lived very long lives, they will probably say that they are just like less stressed, they move every day, they are happy, they're have support and community, and they laugh a lot. They play, right? So we're going to do that. Okay. So I want you to take your hand to your heart and a hand to a belly. And first, we're just going to practice some breathing because you might end up coughing, and that's okay. We're just clearing out that throat chakra, that area that holds your voice. So when you come back to Modern Nurse Fest tomorrow and participate, you can actually speak up and out about things that you want to talk about. So that's the whole joy about laughing is clearing the energetics within our throat area. All right, so let's take a deep breath in through the nose, and then So you're going to take that breath and like you're fogging up a window. We're going to do that just 3 times here. So take a deep breath in and then good job. Let's just do 2 more just like that. Fog up the window as best as you can. Inhale deeply. Good. One more time. All right, that might have created some sensations of like a fullness in the head, or you might just feel kind of open after that breath. So whatever sensation you felt or you found in within yourself, just take a moment to honor that because you felt a sensation. So good job, friends. All right, let's go ahead and laugh. So I'm gonna go ahead and start, and then you're just gonna repeat after me, and then we're just gonna full on laugh it out. Okay. All right, so I am the only one on the screen. So you guys, you're going to do this, right? We're going to do this together. All right, here we go. We're going to take a deep breath in. All right, we're going to do it again. Ready? And as you can see, I'm getting my diaphragm involved. So that breath of fogging up the glass helps us to hot breath coming out, right? We want that hotness to be released from our body. We don't want to keep that hotness in our body. We want to be at homeostasis. All right, let's do that one more time. So we're just going to start laughing and we're going to continue that laughter until it becomes our real laughter. So you can laugh yourself into laughter. It really does work. So here we go. And then just feeling it in the body, feeling the fullness in the belly and the fullness in the chest. So you can do that at any time, and it might feel absolutely ridiculous at first. You might feel a little bit crazy, but I'll tell you, who cares? Because you're the most important in that present moment. And if you're in a state of dysregulation or if you're in a state of low frequency or mood, it's time to raise that roof. Laughter is going to help. And it has helped myself and so many patients and clients that I've been with. I've helped people laugh through pain. I've turned on lots of comedy shows while I'm in the hospital working as a nurse, and I will sit there with patients and we will laugh together. And you know what? They don't think about the pain anymore, right? If you're in a hospital bed, you're going to be thinking about a lot of things that are going on with your body because that is the primary focus. The bed helps to make it a focus. And so your pain is going to be extremely more noticeable when you're laying in a bed all day long because your body's not moving, it's not functioning as it should be. All right, so laughter is the key to health and happiness. All right, so we're going to take a moment to do some meditative listening and meditative guiding. And so I invite you to grab a pillow and we're going to come into a position where you just place your knees on top of the pillow. You can also fold the pillow. It just depends on how much height you like under your knees. So this is a really nice way to relax the body. And you're just going to go ahead and lay on down. So take it on down here. And go ahead and stay laying down. I'm going to go ahead and sit up and guide us through this meditation so you can hear my voice here. So just take a moment and notice how it feels to be on the ground. And again, just like before, how we tapped into the contact points of our feet. I want you to go ahead and tap into the contact points of the body from the bottom of the foot, whether the heel is on the ground or maybe the side of the foot or the inner side. And then working your way up the leg to the calf area, noticing maybe if you have your legs on a pillow, noticing the fullness, the fluffiness, the lightness of the pillow underneath your calf. Bringing awareness to the fold underneath the knee and noticing that as well on the pillow or the ground. And then go ahead and move on to your thighs and notice the points of contact, either with the pillow or the ground here. And maybe notice any space that you feel underneath the legs or even underneath the feet. And take a moment here if you feel safe, supported. You can go ahead and take a moment to close your eyes if they're not already closed. You can even soften your gaze here if you like, or just find a focal point on the ceiling. And coming back to the breath here, taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. And an open mouth sigh or exhale, allowing the body to relax a little bit more. Taking a nice deep breath in here, closing the eyes. And exhaling when you're ready. And taking a moment, if you'd like, to open up the mouth really wide to induce a yawn to help the nervous system calm down just a little bit more. Go ahead at this time. We'll be gently diving into an inner child meditation. And at any point, if you feel the need to release, whether it's a tear or maybe a yawn, you are more than welcome to do that in this space. Taking a moment to bring yourself to when you were younger. At any age between the age of 0 to 18. Bringing yourself back. And go ahead and pick a point in that childhood where you really truly remember how you looked. And you might remember this from pictures that you have laying around, or maybe some pictures or something that your parents or your caregivers had that you did as a child. So take a moment and want you to imagine your younger self standing or maybe even laying next to you if you're laying on the ground. And maybe just turn your head to the side and look at your inner child, your younger self, and just take a curious notion and a moment of curiosity and awe of yourself being a child. And allow any emotions to arise within your being. Take a moment to look at your eyes, your face, your hair, your mouth. What are you wearing? What kind of noises are you making? What are you saying? And taking a moment just to be with that younger self. And I invite you, if you have experienced any sorts of adverse childhood experiences and you feel safe currently in your adulthood, to kindly tell your younger self that you're safe. allowing your younger self that might feel abandonment, that might feel injustice, to be held in this moment. And if you feel safe currently in this moment as an adult, just glancing over and saying, hey, I'm safe. And just taking a moment to maybe take your hand and place it on your inner child, or just give your hand to maybe let your inner child hold your hand. Just reconnecting with that younger self, that most curious, creative, risk-taking self, your most authentic self, before we were changed and molded by maybe our caregivers or society. The fresh younger self. I want you to bring that into this moment and allow those states of curiosity and kindness and adventure seeking to come into the present moment, to quantum leap into this present moment for you right now. Taking a moment and just smiling and just noticing that we can just add a little bit more curiosity, playfulness to our life right now. And so go ahead and take a deep breath in and an exhale of a sigh, whatever feels good to you. And we're going to take our arms and wrap them around ourselves here. If you're laying down, you can still do this. We're going to go ahead and wrap our arms around ourselves as if we were hugging our younger inner child. And I want you to just squeeze like you squeeze a loved one. If you're a parent, maybe how you squeeze your kid. If you're have nieces or nephews, like hug a child, hug your inner child. All right, so here we go. We're just going to squeeze, maybe tuck your chin in, and you can do a little rocking motion if that feels good. But just take notice of your inner child here. And taking a nice deep breath in, squeezing here, and exhaling, releasing, and allowing our inner child to go back, but to be with us at all times. And so with that, we're going to do some fun movement here. You might feel super relaxed. We're just going to do some gentle movement so you can still lay on the ground. Just go ahead and take your pillow out from underneath you, and we're going to lay on our back here. And the first movement we're going to do is we're just going to bring our knees to our chest, and we're going to rock back and forth. So taking your head down onto the ground and just again rocking right to left. And then go ahead and just end up on one side, taking your knees to one side and your arms out to the side, however that looks for you. And from here, we're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And an open mouth sigh or exhale, relaxing the legs just a little bit more. Maybe they're falling on top of each other, or you can feel the ground underneath your thigh. And we're going to go ahead and lift up our legs here on our exhale and take them over to the other side. So go ahead and move your body. You can even extend your arms out to the side if you have enough room, or you can place your hands on your chest here. But again, coming back to the breath, taking a nice deep breath in. And an open mouth sigh or exhale. And one more deep breath in. And an open mouth sigh or exhale. And if you are able to, we're going to incorporate a happy baby. And a happy baby is just what you think it is. It's like a happy little baby. So you can place your hands on your knees and bring your knees back to your chest and kind of rock out. A true happy baby that we see in some traditional practices of yoga is putting the hands on the edges of the feet here, the arches, and then opening up, and just opening up the pelvic inlet. And this really helps stretch out the hips, which is really good for nurses because we're on our feet a lot. And so the hips can become tight and can become congested. And that's when we kind of start seeing fertility problems as well. So sometimes our pelvises are congested with trauma and energetics that we have accumulated through our life. So doing these kind of movements help release the hips. All right, so let's go ahead and rock and roll up into a seated position here together. We're just going to come crisscross applesauce. Remember back in the day, so good to go ahead and sit in this type of pose. If you're unable to get onto the floor, I highly suggest trying to do things where you can try to get on the floor or at least get closer down to the ground, because the ground actually helps us. So if you ever have a patient or a client that's extremely anxious, as we know, a lot of our patient exam tables in urgent cares and doctor's offices really are heightened above the ground. And although we have that step that comes out, sometimes people can't reach that step. So if you have somebody that's truly anxious, you can have them exit off of the exam table and just have them take a seat for a minute and get that anxiety reduced, right? Because when we ground, we're connected to the ground. And sometimes being off the ground can cause anxiety. That's why people get so anxious in airplanes, because we're not able to like connect with the ground. We're like, I have no spatial concept, right? So grounding is a huge way. And so getting as much contact with the ground as you can is so important, even working from the ground, right? So that's a really important thing, is connecting with the ground, whether it's in your house or in nature. And that's another great way that we can play as inner child, right? As inner children. All right, so this next one that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just place our hands onto our knees here. And we're just going to go ahead and look up to the sky. So we're opening up the throat chakra, opening up the heart center, the heart chakra here as well. And just taking a moment to feel that expansiveness. I want you to notice if it's tight in this area for you, or can you tip your head back just slightly a little bit more to open up that throat chakra area? Because when you're a child, usually you have a pretty good voice until people start telling you to be quiet. And that tends to happen when we start school. We have to be quiet and sit in our seat, and we start to lose our voice. So if you're a nurse watching this and you have been succumbed to losing your voice from people telling you to be quiet or that your voice doesn't matter, your voice matters very much. And that's why Modern Nurse Fest is here. So if you're interested in sharing your voice, I'd love to hear from you. That's just an innocent plug about Modern Nurse Fest, because it's important that nurses share our experiences and our voices. So I appreciate you being here and learning how to express and raise your voice for things that you are passionate about. All right, so with that stretch here, we're just going to do it one more time. I want you to open up your mouth really wide. And then go ahead and close your mouth. We're going to take a right ear to a right shoulder here, just stretching out the neck. Our necks are pretty nimble when we're kids, and then they get stress built upon them from our trapezoids to our scalenes in our neck, and things tend to get tight. So it's important to stretch out our neck, chin to chest, taking it round to the left ear, left shoulder, and just feeling that stretching, maybe taking a closing to the eyes or a softening to the gaze. And again, dropping the head down, taking some breaths here. Back to right shoulder, right ear. And one more time, we're going to come back around. Maybe some cricks or cracks are happening for you here. And we're going to come back down to center and then come back up to the sky here one more time. And bringing it back down. Okay. All right. In this moment, we're going to go ahead and just talk about how trauma stacking from our childhood can affect us as nurses and what we can do about it. And I'm so privileged to have Taylor on here as well as a coach, and she just taught about self abandonment. And that is so true in when we experience adverse childhood traumas. And you might have heard of an ACE score, but an ACE score really helps us determine if you've experienced traumas. So you yourself might have been privy to taking that, or you might be in mental health nursing or have had patients take the ACE score. And it's really important to understand that there is a ton of modalities that help with informed trauma care. And as a somatic nurse, that is a big part of what we do as somatic nurses when we are interviewing clients or patients or learners, that we understand that we come from a trauma informed space and place and bring in therapeutic communication to the point that you're going to feel loved and cared for and safe. And it's not going to feel like an interrogation, which is so often what we experience in the mental health world. It's a list of questions that we have to ask as nurses, and we just go, and we check the boxes, but there's not really a lot of that human connection. So, somatic nursing brings in that informed trauma care to nurses, which all nurses should be informed trauma and should understand that type of language when you're dealing with patients, because every patient is a mental health patient. And every person is a mental health case. We all have nervous system dysregulation. It comes back to the nervous system. It's not even mental anymore. It's whole body system that we are talking about. So it's really important to understand that when we have trauma stacking, it can affect us in nursing. And I spoke about this a little bit earlier in our somatic nursing session, that if we don't take care of our fight or flight in nursing school and beyond, we can then get burned out. And oftentimes this is related back to trauma stacking. So what is trauma stacking? It is our experiences that we've had in childhood that we haven't really dealt with yet. Maybe it's self-abandonment, maybe it's lack of support, maybe it's not feeling loved, maybe it's not getting your 5 needs met under Maslow's hierarchy. Whatever that is for you, if we don't get in touch with that by the time we're in different careers, those things can sneak back up into our life when we are exposed to triggering or trauma or stress later in life, right? And we have those situations then as nurses that we experience trauma, whether it's a code. I had a very traumatic death when I was a hospice nurse. I thought it was a horror movie. I was like, what is happening right now? And it really was very traumatizing for me. And I had to go see a therapist about it because I just had repetitive dreams, almost like a PTSD from that experience, And so as nurses, it's very important that we understand that we'll have these triggering moments, and to take care of them in that moment, to not brush them away because they're not going to go away, but to notice and respect how our body is responding, and to take action how our body needs us in that moment, right? So if you need to step away from the floor, if you need to leave from that moment that you're in, then do so, right? It's about respecting our own boundaries and coming back to a place of care and concern for ourselves, and getting away from that moment of self abandonment, like Taylor so elegantly talked about earlier. So it's really important that you watch her session as well, because it's just a little bit of a segue into what we are talking about here as well. So it's really important to get back in touch with yourself, and that does a lot of wonder and curiosity, and understanding how as humans that we grow and we're forever changing, we're forever evolving into something else. It's like we are always going from a caterpillar state to a butterfly consistently over our lifetime. So you get to reinvent yourself at any time. So I want you to think of 3 traits in this moment. You can put them in the chat or you can say them out loud. 3 traits that you want to bring into your adult life that you used to have as a child. So 3 childhood traits that you used to have that you want to bring back into your life now. And while you're thinking about that, I'll start the 3 traits, and I have been bringing them back in my life in the past year, is just laughing a lot more. I used to be a very silly kid. Like I would always mess around a whole heck of a lot. Um, like joking, playing pranks, just doing some funny stuff. And so getting back into being silly is really important for me. And I see that Taylor wrote that too. Being vulnerable, that's a great one as well, Taylor. And, as a kid, we're so innocent. We haven't been like branded and burned by the world yet. And we're just so fresh, right? And, bringing back that vulnerability and that inner heart glow that we have as children, absolutely. And to be fun. Yes, to have more fun, like make fun out of everything. Like you can have a shower and have so much fun. Like I love bringing bubbles into the shower. I love playing music in the shower. I dance in the shower. People sing in the shower. I take phone calls in the shower. Some of my best ideas come in the shower, right? So make fun of wherever you are in that moment in life. I had a awesome hospice patient and he was just the most lovely person ever that I've ever had the honor of helping pass to another realm. And he just taught me the joy of having fun. I mean, this man was dying and you could not tell that he was dying. We would have fun every time we played cards. He would sing to me. He would give me high fives. Like this man up to his last breath was having fun. And I think if we can incorporate more fun into our lives, like Taylor suggested, the world would be a better place, right? Because it's when we're having fun, we're not stressed. We're actually in the present moment when we're having fun. Like we're not thinking about the past. We're not having anxiety about the past and what we couldn't have done or what we should have done and how I should be acting. It's not any of that. And we're not in the future because we're in the present moment. So bringing more fun is an absolute must in your life, especially if you're watching this, to bring more fun into your day. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here by just doing some nice, deep, slow breaths. And we're going to take the stance here of using our hands as some tools. And what we can do is we can cover our eyes and we can create a kind of a darkened area. And so if you feel safe and secure, you're more than happy to do this. You can also take your hands to your forehead if that feels good. You can take a forehead hand and a hand down to the back of the neck. That's another nice hold as well. You can also take two hands to the neck. You can also take a hand to the front of the throat and a hand to the chest. It's really wherever you feel. So just take a moment and kind of go through those motions of placing your hand on your body and noticing where you need it the most. So our hands are magic. We care for a lot of people as nurses, and our hands hold energy. They hold healing. There's some really awesome Reiki masters within the nursing profession, and I know we have some Reiki intuitives, including myself in Modern Nurse Fest. I know Sherry Mack also does Reiki and a few others. And so these tools can be used on ourselves to help us come back to a state of calm and collectiveness. So just feeling the hands touching the body. And now I want you to take a moment to connect the hands through the body. So you're going to imagine a string or a color or stream of light connecting the hands, maybe from the head to the neck, or making a U shape if your hands are on your eyes. And taking a nice deep breath in. And then exhale, gently remove your hands here. And just take a deep breath and smile. All right. So I hope you guys got some really interesting and fun takeaways from this workshop. It's not like any other workshop that you probably experienced at a nursing conference or a nursing fest. But this weekend, we really want to help you dive in to all the parts of ourselves that get abandoned. Like Taylor said, we often abandon ourselves as nurses. And so this weekend is just full on all about you, all about you as a human first, and then a nurse. So this whole weekend, we are nursing the nurses and nursing our nursing self because without us, people cannot be taken care of. So it's important to fill our cup first and then take care of ourselves. So I hope you just have the best time the rest of the day or evening, wherever you're at watching this. And just to take a moment to honor yourself, honor your breathing, honor your being here. You have a story to tell. You have so many people that love you and care for you. So thank you for being here and taking the time to just be with yourself. All right, day 2 has come to an end. Thank you so much again for being here for Modern Nurse Fest. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening.